Hi, Filippo. Thank you very much for
Hello.
joining us. Uh, I think in these times, everybody is struggling with creating content because things have moved digital, and everybody is trying to create digital content. So before we get on to our, question answer round, I just want for our audience, if you can explain what StashAway is. And for our audience, Filippo is the CMO at StashAway, and if you can briefly explain what
Sure.
StashAway does.
Yeah, so we are a digital wealth manager. So we help people manage their wealth for short, medium, or long-term goals. We do that in Singapore, in Malaysia, and soon we will open also in other countries in the region.
So, Filippo, let's start with the very, very basic question of how do you envisage the role of content at StashAway?
So content for us is a way to establish trust. We deal with a very complex and very delicate matter because people's money is a delicate thing, and people need to be reassured, especially the one that don't have a very deep financial knowledge. And so thanks to the all the initiative in which we deploy content, and we do a lot of things, and probably we will cover them in this interview, we try to teach them to increase trust. And overall, what we do is we try to help them cope with their emotion. And when you invest, you can be completely hijacked by your emotion, because your primal mind at some point wants to earn a lot of money, and there is greed on the street. Everybody is making money and you want to be part of it, sort of fear of missing out. And this is very powerful. On the other side, when the market goes down, then there is anxiety and you want to go out. And so even in that case, an emotional response will do something that is bad for you for the long term.
Yeah.
And for us, this content effort touches many touch points. We do webinars, we do market commentaries every week. We have implemented a functionality to give an on-demand educational videos in the app whenever you want. We are in the process of launching a podcast, and we do long form article every month. We publish on our resource center medium and long piece content, infographic. I mean, we do everything we can with words, with the copy, with infographic, with visual explanation, and with a lot of video. We invested quite heavily on video production, because I believe by seeing people's faces, you are increasing trust. So again, content is a way to increase trust.
And do you think content is going beyond marketing? Because usually we think of content to be used as marketing content or content for marketing. Do you think it going beyond marketing in near future?
I mean, we use content for business development quite a lot. So we host events in which we present our thought leadership, and those are mainly acquisition events. We use content to improve the customer experience. So if a customer engagement agent believes that there is an answer that was just provided in one of our videos, he will point the customer to this video. So we try to create once and repurpose in many possible ways. This is a very efficient way to do it, and touches very many departments from the organization, both at the B2C level. We have also a B2B branch. So in both circumstances, yes, we use a lot of content for sales, for customer engagement, for retention in general.
Oh, great, great. So my next question is mostly related to the talent of content professionals. So looking at your own composition of marketing team, how do you think content professionals are fitting into this entire overall marketing team?
We have quite a few with very dedicated and specialized role. And so we have art directors, we have managers, we have copywriter, we have also video maker. And so we have the full spectrum from copy to visual, static visual, animated visual. And we don't rely on external agencies, and we do everything in-house. and with a very diverse team that needs to collaborate a lot with other teams in a cross-functional way, because one thing is to provide a piece of content that is a standalone. One thing is to help products deliver a better functionality, because the copy strategy, the copy design, the kind of user experience that you provide also comes from the experience you have developed by nurturing content on the other channels. So quite, yes, everything in-house, quite articulated team, honestly, in terms of skills.
And when these people
And,
join,
sorry,
yeah.
an important thing, we have also invested to have our own video production studio in our headquarters. So all the videos we do are done in-house with professional equipment, and done well. And I think it's the best thing that you can do on the internet, especially if you can cut a short snippet. So you take one video and you can repurpose it multiple times, but it needs to be high quality. So we spend a lot of time and effort to put subtitles, to shoot at very high quality, and to have different format that suit different devices.
Sure. So when these people with a specific skill set of content joined the marketing team, did you see any fitment issues, any issues within the team, how well they adapted, how well they learned the marketing discipline, these content professionals? Because even today, marketing and content are seen as two different disciplines at times. So how did they fit into the overall scheme of things?
No, honestly, given the nature of our company, they were exposed to branding topics or growth-related topics from day zero.
Oh.
So they participate. We are a very cross-functional team, and yeah, I know. I think they took the right approach from the beginning. We are very clear KPIs for all the company. We are very, very, very customer focused, in the sense that every NPS review, every App Store review, every comment on social media is shared across all the companies. So there is a customer is king, and we put a lot of attention to our KPIs in terms of growth, retention, lifetime value. So no, yeah, they were on board since the first day, honestly.
Oh, brilliant. And now that you have in-house content team, and we all understand that content in finance can be boring at times. We don't love to read too much about finance, because it as a human tendency, we don't like that content. So how do you ensure the snackiness of the content, and basically to ensure engagement with the consumer, especially with such kind of serious content? How do you ensure engagement?
So first of all, let me say that if when you think at your investment, you are a bit bored, this is a good thing. So this is because if investing start to become too exciting or too frightening, something is not very well aligned, unless you are a trader, unless you do that. Even if you are a trader, if the emotional side is so prevalent, probably you should think twice. But that is for the investment side. I don't think content will be boring if it is relevant. I think the challenge is to provide the right content at the right stage of your cycle. So what I said in the beginning, we want to help people cope with their emotion. And I can guarantee you, if you are in a deep anxiety status because you see the market going south and you are worried about the savings of your life, the good piece of content will be absolutely appreciated. The problem is that most of the time you will be served with stuff that is not relevant. So it is more an issue of data science that allows you to get some insights and deliver the most relevant thing. I give you an example. We detect if you log in too often to the app. And this is not a good thing for your money. We've done several regression analysis. If you use too much your app, your performance is going to be worse than if you use it less times, because you start to get anxious. As I told you, very powerful emotional, there is a very powerful emotional component. So we do CRM campaigns, we do automation through push notification, in-app messages, email automation, sequence of email, and even we call people proactively, we call them. And we try to prevent stupid things from happening. So you see, if it is relevant, you will enjoy it. So I don't think it will be boring. Then obviously you need to have variety. You need to have videos, snippets, the kind of, we talk in a native way on Instagram with 10 seconds video. On YouTube, the same video lasts for 14 minutes. On the podcast, the same content will be developed in 55, 60 minutes. So every channel needs to be tackled in a native way. And then if the quality of the content is high, if the quality of the craft, execution-wise, I told you about having invested in a video room, is high, and everything is well coordinated, honestly, this is the best situation ever, and it will not be boring. We have a webinar for beginners. We have webinar for intermediate, and we have webinar for advanced topics. I can guarantee you people love those webinars, but very different people attend those webinars. We gather all the data, so we know very well their financial skill, education, income, age, and there are cluster of people that gravitates around different kind of webinars, different kind of skillfulness required to understand the webinar, and they will enjoy it because it is relevant for them. But if there is a mismatch, and then you lose them, then engagement drops, and then it starts to become boring because it is not relevant for you. So we believe in content customization. If content customization helps you to cope with their emotion at the right moment, the right time, with the right channel, with the right resonating at the right level of your skills in terms of finance, I mean, that is exactly what you need to do, and you will not be bored.
Sure. Got your point. So now we'll talk about a little bit about content strategy. So typically brands end up investing too much effort and money into creation part of it. So what I wanted to understand from you is that there are 4 pillars of content marketing strategy, content creation, content management, content distribution, and content measurement. What do you think is the ideal allocation of budget across these 4 disciplines of content marketing?
So I think the first part about creation needs to be clever, because budget in a startup is always a scarce resource by definition, by design. If not, it is not a startup. And so, as I said before, if you plan the content, but with the idea that you already know how you will repurpose in many different ways, always native. So if we take a YouTube video of 15 minutes and we want to do an Instagram snippet, we will reformat it in a square format with subtitles. We will work to appear as a native format with some video overlays and things like that. So if you plan carefully from the beginning, you will have you will gain a lot of efficiency in your content creation process that will allow you to reduce the number of resources and effort and money that you need to deploy later to manage the content and distribute the content. So native content built on the principle of repurposing and reusing the content as much as possible. Once you have done that, so lots of effort, I cannot say a specific number because it is dependent on your specific industry. I cannot say 20, 50 or 80%, but lots of effort goes toward creation, high quality, well done, with a clear, streamlined strategy. Then in terms of distribution, management, distribution, and measurement, things should proceed, in theory, if you've done your homework well, more smoothly. Then it's up to the measurement part to dictate if your distribution strategy is not working. What I can share is that in order, especially in a non-paid environment, so I'm not talking of something that you create and then you boost with some marketing dollars on Facebook or whatever. So with a pure organic content, you need to put a lot of constant effort before seeing results. It's very non-linear, the kind of result you will see. So you say that you publish a video about the market commentary every Monday. You need to do it for 1 year maybe before seeing really a fan base developing, because by being consistent, you are showing that you are professional and people can trust you to appear there next Monday, next Monday, and next Monday. So you cannot measure that in terms of quarter, in terms of KPIs.
So as you mentioned that most of your content is developed in-house, and if
100%.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
That's great to know.
And yeah, I came from the agency world. I was a co-founder of an agency before this job, and
So
Yeah,
when,
one of the first decision I took was to not use any agency, and in order to work well with an agency, you need to really push them,
yeah.
and you need to engage them, and then you will have a wonderful work. But if you are a startup where you decide between the water cooler and the desk what to do, and it's simply impossible to rely on external help, in my experience.
But when do you think, what is that tipping point when you choose to outsource your content? Is it purely the amount of content which may not be able to produce in-house, or what is that
Now,
point?
if I outsource for a quantity perspective, I will lose quality, and I will never do that.
Okay.
I prefer a less piece of content, but higher quality, always, 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 because especially evergreen content will resonate and will mark your reputation forever. So absolutely. Now, at some point, probably with a much broader geographical footprint, you need something different in terms of production capacity.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of a very, very well executed video with maybe 3D effects or visual animation or motion effects graphic. We cannot reach that point, and it will be stupid to hire for that, because it is a once in a lifetime kind of activity. And in that case, then you go with the best in class doing that. You know that you will pay premium price, but you are very clear on what you want. But by doing everything internally, obviously it's super tough, it's super difficult, you are stretched always to the limit, but you learn so much that this is invaluable.
Okay. So now we are going through a very difficult time. And in this time, we cannot ignore the impact of COVID-19 on us. How do you think the role of content has changed in this time of crisis?
Hey, content, we doubled down on everything during the COVID-19 period. We are still in the COVID-19 period. We need to be aware of that. As a financial company, we are exposed in a very significant way. We doubled down on everything in terms of content, honestly, because we understood, it was clear by looking at the data, people living at home with lots of time more time at their disposal to consume stuff. So we increased significantly the amount of content we produce, and we also delivered in innovative ways. So we launched, we rushed to launch Academy in app. We call Academy in app the functionality that allows you to stream, watch in streaming on-demand videos about financial topics. We rushed that in order to be ready to catch the coronavirus lockdown. And this was one example. I told you we are going to launch a podcast. And this is something that we rushed, but if you want to do it well with external guests, there is always some time involved. We increased the amount of videos with which we put the faces of our co-founders, because we want to show empathy. We want to show that we are there for them, that for our customers, to not lose trust in us. And so we have put much more the face of the people out there in with videos. So yes, it changed a lot of things, and we opened a Telegram channel, we opened a Twitter channel. We increased much more the footprint, the digital footprint of our communication. And we also noticed some trends, like people using more desktop to access our platform, and interesting from a usage perspective.
Yeah, correct. So if you see around, do you see brands investing more in content going forward?
Yes, I think this is a direction you can safely assume that is being used more and more and more. Content, I mean, it's also, if you wrongly assume producing content is cheap, and this is a wrong assumption, because quality content requires a lot of effort, but effort that maybe you can see as an in-kind effort, because it's your own people, you are not paying Google to advertise, or Facebook, etc. Probably you are going to sacrifice performance marketing budget dollars, so campaign on Google AdWords, for example, in order to produce more content, because you think it is cheap. In reality, nothing is cheap, but there is an overall trend towards content. There is an overall trend towards content that, unfortunately, most of the time is not native, is not relevant, is a bit shouted too much. I mean, I spent most of my professional life before this experience in Europe. The errors around content are the same, honestly, everywhere in the world, from what I saw. And but there is this tendency. Yes, there is a tendency towards content creation at all costs.
Sure. And on that note, what do you suggest to brands who are about to start their content marketing journey, or to brands who have experimented with content to some extent and now want to scale their content marketing journey going forward? What do you advise them?
So my suggestion is not very creative, but more an engineering suggestion in order to be efficient. Really, things in all the ways that you can repurpose what you do. In order to be native in every channel and every touch point you decide to use, at the right step in the consumer adoption journey. So it's a multidimensional matrix that you need to have clear in your mind when you produce content. So you only produce once at the highest quality you can afford, and then you repurpose multiple times, multiple ways across native channels, across all the different touch points and all the different stages of the customer adoption cycle. So it's more about thinking in a strategic way. If I do this video in this way, where I can deploy this video later on? How many mini snippet can I extract? If I transcript this video, where I can put the transcript in order to increase my SEO ranking? How can I repurpose part of this video for an email newsletter or an email automation? How can I give a script of this video to the customer engagement team to answer the phone? How can I put this video in a deck for the business development guy to help them achieve their sales quota? So you see, one piece of content, a galaxy of different deployments.
Absolutely.
And this gives you capacity to scale because you are saving time and energy. You are being much more efficient.
Yeah. Perfect. I think that's a good piece of advice for anyone who is planning to start or scale their content marketing journey, because typically people struggle with one part of the problem. They don't look at how will they distribute the content. They end up focusing too much on either creation or distribution. I think there needs to be a balance of everything, which stems out from your own marketing strategy.
Yes. And also, as I said, don't rush. You are not going to measure KPI on non-paid, on pure organic activities in a quarter. This is a constant stream of hitting the publish button every week for months. And then you will deploy an audience. Yeah. If you don't have the capacity to sustain with the paid marketing strategy. Obviously, if you do that, plus you go on television, plus you are everywhere on a rich campaign, is a different pair of hands. But I assume people that are watching us are quite on an agile mindset. And like us, it's always David versus Goliath. So as a startup.
No, that's a nice way to say that, if you want to stay in the content marketing game, keep your hand on the publish button all the time.
If you publish good stuff, yes.
Of course. Great. Thank you, Filippo, for sharing your insights with us. I think these will be very useful, especially in the times that we are. So thank you very much.
My pleasure.